Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. Let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from Classic Effect 8633 and it says, am I the arsehole for beating my parents to the chase and moving out in the middle of the night? I, 18 female, overheard conversations with my mum and dad, 39 female and 40 male, about how they planned to kick me out shortly after my 18th birthday. The way they were talking about it seemed like they were dead serious, and the way it was brought up multiple times made it seem like they were going to kick me out too. So I decided that I wouldn't give them the chance to kick me out, and made plans with my friend Riley, 17 female, to stay at her place until I graduated and moved into a college dorm or had an apartment of my own. Riley's parents were horrified by the thought of my parents would kick me out the second I turned 18 and agreed to let me stay at their place as long as I graduated high school. Riley, her parents, and my boyfriend Cole, 18 male, came after midnight to help me take my belongings to their car and drive me to Riley's house. My parents woke up in the middle of this and asked me what the hell was going on. I kind of shrugged and told them that I was moving out before they could kick me out. My parents tried to deny this and attempted to stop me from leaving, but there was nothing that I could do since I'm a legal adult. By the way, I wasn't just going to leave in the middle of the night without any goodbye. I already put a note on the kitchen table where my mum goes to first thing in the morning, explaining what happened. Right now, I'm at Riley's house in their spare bedroom, and I've gotten bombarded with calls from my parents asking me to come back and not to tell my grandparents about this. In one text, my mum called me an ungrateful bitch for leaving in the middle of the night, and that she should have kicked me out sooner. And immediately, it feels like one of those stories, like there's a lot more background to this than just this one situation. Obviously, I can't speculate because, it's just not there, but the text from your mum at the end felt pretty telling to me that she called you an ungrateful bitch for leaving in the middle of the night and should have kicked you out sooner. It kind of made me just roll my eyes, especially the line previously to that saying, I've been bombarded with calls by my parents asking me to come back and not to tell grandparents about this. Petty me is just saying, I'll be showing those texts to grandparents if you're pretty close with them. But Michael says not the arsehole. If it was one conversation that you overheard, I'd say you overreacted, but since it was several times and no note of sarcasm or joking, then you did right. Also, your mum saying she should have kicked you out sooner is pretty clear. The fact that they don't want your grandparents to know also shows they know it's wrong. You don't mention any reasons why they would want to kick you out. Have you been in trouble? Do they dislike your boyfriend? Bad grades? Opie says, I remember from a few conversations, too unrelated to kicking me out about my mum wanting an office. I haven't been in big trouble like getting in trouble with the law. Grades are pretty good, and they've so far expressed approval about Cole. Another commenter says not the arsehole and quote saying I've been bombarded with calls from my parents asking me to come back and not tell my grandparents about this, and says, if I were a gambling man, I'd put money on the grandparents somehow subsidizing the cost of raising a child. Maybe your parents were planning on kicking you out and keeping the cash. Feathers says not the arsehole. You mentioned that your parents have said that kind of thing to you on multiple occasions, and then you overheard what happened to be a serious discussion about it. All you did was prepare yourself. I get the feeling that they were going to follow through, but try to do it in a way that made you look bad, so they didn't look like the awful parents who tossed their kid out. I mean, they seem more concerned about your grandparents finding out. Also, the thing that really confirmed my suspicions was when your mum sent that nasty text. You should take a screenshot of that and send it to the grandparents. It was about a month after this that OP came in with an update and said, I honestly forgot about this account and struggled to remember the password, but here we go. A lot of shocking information was revealed, and this is just my brief, messy account of it. So, like you all suggested I do, I told my grandparents what happened with screenshots of my parents' texts after I went to Riley's house. Let me tell you, they were livid at what my parents were saying to me and the fact that they were planning to kick me out. I ended up meeting up with them and staying with them at their place for a few days while they tried to figure out what the fuck was going on with my parents. My mom and dad were being sent money monthly by my grandma and grandpa for my college fund since they mostly depleted it. After my brother Alex moved out because he was tired of them begging for money due to their gambling addictions. My mom admitted that their plan was to kick me out but act like I moved out willingly because I found an apartment and get double the money that we were previously getting to help out with my rent money once they asked my grandparents for it. Grandma yelled at my mother over the phone and told her that she'd never see another dime of her money again. She told my mum that she would rewrite her will so that the money my mum would have gotten would go to me, which my mum freaked out at. My dad blew up my phone one more time because I blocked him and my mum's numbers for good, calling me an evil "see you next Tuesday" and telling me that she wished my mum aborted me. So yeah, I talked with my brother, Alex, and the only thing he really had to say or ask, I guess, was why our parents' scummy behavior hadn't been called out when they were trying to legitimately steal paychecks to go gamble. I'm sorry if this is kind of rambly, but this was the best I could do at the moment. Thank you for all the advice, and I'll maybe give another update if anything else happens, but I doubt it will. I liked OP's grandparents' response to this, the no-nonsense approach, straight away. Having OP's back and rewriting the will and shutting down that money to the parents who were clearly using it for gambling. Don't get me wrong, like we always say on this channel, addictions can seriously mess you up, but still, it doesn't excuse it doing this to your kid, talking to your kid in this way, etc., etc. And what the dad said to the OP is absolutely vile. And I think OP should be proud of themselves. At 18 years old, taking on their parents and getting themselves out of that situation was absolutely the right call. And I really do wish OP all the best for the future, whatever they're up to now. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. Now, our next story is one that we have covered in the past, but promise I mean well. Over on our own subreddit, r/marknarration says there's lots of new updates to "My wife kissed another man" video, so we're diving straight into that. As always, if you want to skip certain parts of the video, if you heard previous parts of the updates before, please feel free to do so. Timestamps will always be down in the description and along the timeline below. Thank you. It's titled, "My 41 male, wife 41 female kissed another man on a night out. I wasn't bothered, and now she's causing issues over it." Sorry if the title doesn't make much sense. I don't know how to word it. Also on throwaway, as I don't want this on my main. Bit of context. We've been together since we were 18. Never had a great sex life after the first year. Maybe once or twice a year at most since then. But at the minute it's going on 3 years, and although it bothers me, I love her and I love our kids, so I'm not going to make a big deal out of it. I know plenty of friends in the same situation. Another bit of context is that I've always been mildly overweight, but always fit, as I played a lot of sports until about 10 years ago. When I got really ill, and mixtures of meds and comfort eating made me balloon up to nearly 300 pounds. Well, 2 years ago, I decided to do something about it. I'm now around 200, which at 6'2" is the lightest I've been as an adult, and I've actually enjoyed using weights, and for the first time in my life, have a bit of abs and some muscle. My wife, having always been far hotter, is pretty obviously insecure about the fact that for the first time we've been together, women are starting to look at me and message me on my baking pages on social media. For the record, I've never even looked at another woman in that way. On to the night in question. My wife went out with some friends, a mix of single and in a relationship. She looks stunning and I told her so. I even updated my phone home screen to that picture of her. Lol. One of the friends she was out with messaged me about 3 months, and the gist was she knows I get no sex. My wife doesn't realize how lucky she is, and basically, do I want to hook up? I obviously instantly take a screenshot and send it to my wife. Around 4 AM, my wife gets home and she wakes me up as she gets into bed. I'm half awake, but can tell something is wrong and ask what the matter is. She doesn't say anything for a few seconds, and as I go to grab her hand, she pulls away. I ask if she wants me to get her a drink, and she says no. Then she just blurts out and says, "I met a guy tonight, he kissed me. I didn't kiss back at first, then I did." Then for the next half hour we were dancing and constantly kissing. She kept saying sorry and begging me not to leave her. My honest first reaction was, so what, it's only kissing and dancing. I didn't say that, I just hugged her and tried to calm her down. An hour or so later, once I got the right words in my head, I said, "I know you feel really guilty, but please don't. I'm not going to leave you and break up our family over some kissing and dancing, and I don't love you any less than I did yesterday. And this isn't something that's going to grow and cause resentment." More or less right on cue, my phone goes off, and it's that friend of hers with a picture and video of what my wife was doing. This set my wife off again, but my feelings still haven't changed, and a month later, that remains the case. In that month since then, my wife has accused me of not loving her because I didn't care. She's accused me of kissing other people and more, which is why I didn't care, as I was covering up my own indiscretions, and she accused me of being gay multiple times, which doesn't make sense. She keeps asking me why I haven't initiated anything with her, even though in the past she's told me she hates being touched and not to ever try it on with her, which I've respected. She's basically projecting, and it's annoying me as it's putting a strain on us, which she is 100% causing. How do I get through to her that she needs to stop feeling guilty and just move on because I have, as it's not a big deal? I was genuinely more annoyed when she broke my baking bowl and tried to blame it on the cat. Lol. Edit. Hi all, I just want to say thank you all so much for taking the time to respond to me. I really do appreciate it, and I'm overwhelmed you all took the time. I keep getting asked a few questions, so I thought I'd address them here. Over the years, we've been to a few different couples counselors and sex therapists, the latest being last September for both. My wife always feels like she's being victimized by them, and we stopped going. Nearly all have said though that they think she is asexual, and two even saying she's displaying a lot of signs of being a closeted lesbian, which I've brought up to her before, and she is adamant she's not. On that note, I've had a lot of messages saying she wants to feel wanted and for me to be more forward with her. This is not true. In all our sessions, she says she doesn't want me trying it on with her. She doesn't even want me to initiate hugs, and just brings up sex makes her feel under pressure. She let me and our therapist know that if she ever had sex without her initiating it, it will be no more than pity sex. As for people saying I don't love her, I buy her flowers every Friday on the way home from work. I bake her favorite cookies or cupcakes every weekend. I send her voice notes of songs I'm listening to that remind me of her. I tell her I love her every day. I run her a bath every night. This isn't me showing off. This is how I was brought up to show love. For those saying I must have been brought up in an unloving home. People have said that if I don't get jealous, I don't love her. If she told me she was having an emotional affair, she spent hours on the phone with someone else laughing and joking, she snuggled on the sofa eating chocolates and watching TV with someone, etc., I'd be devastated. A dance and a kiss isn't a big deal to me, and not even close to divorce. Thank you all again for reading. Second edit. I'm sorry for these. It's 7 AM in the morning here now, the day after I posted this. Been talking to my wife since 6, and said she got a week to agree to go back to couples counselling, and she's got to stick it out this time and not just accuse them of taking sides and refusing to go back. She said no. She said they all bully her and make her out to be the bad guy. She said I went back on my word that I forgive her and won't resent her. I said this isn't about the kiss, it's about her reaction since the kiss, and that feels like she's purposely trying to drive me away and make me leave her. She just got up and stormed out the room. She then got dressed and said she's going out until I go to work. And I'm not going to leave a long comment myself on this one, but because I did last time, but I just remember saying last time and still feeling exactly the same in this one, that it just feels all so unhealthy. But the first commenter says, first, her friend who has the hots for you is in her ear. Second, maybe you need to take a look at your relationship and rekindle the romance. Maybe that's what she needs. I mean, why would her friend know about it? You guys are maybe acting like old married couples, and you're too young for that. Opie says I try to be romantic. I buy her flowers every Friday on my way home from work. I bake her favorite snacks every weekend. Even stupid little things like giving her dinner that looks most presentable on the plate. On cold mornings, get out of bed early to go warm her car up and defrost it before she drives to work. On the physical side, I always tell her how beautiful she is, how hot she looks, because she fucking is. She's the most beautiful woman I've ever seen, and I wouldn't change anything about her at all. And I wouldn't change anything at all about her. She couldn't be more perfect to me. I just don't know what more I can do, and this is what her friend said to me. The message she sent me was so long, and it seems like she knows an awful lot, and she also sees it herself. There was one bit I keep thinking back to when she said she was around ours, and I made my wife a homemade card and wrote a poem in it. And when I left the room, she said my wife made a gagging face to her friend and started laughing. I can remember hearing a noise and then laughter, and I thought she just choked on a drink. That hurts me infinitely more than a kiss and a dance. Someone suggested about if she's not attracted to men, and Opie says, I've asked her this numerous times throughout the marriage, and even suggested if she wanted to explore that side of herself, then she could try and find herself and be who she really is. She always batted it away and said she's not a lesbian, just has a low sex drive. This has always been my thought over the years, and and I've brought it up to her privately, in couples counseling and in sex therapy. The sex therapist also said she's given a lot of signs of being a closeted lesbian as well. 12 days after that, Opie makes the first update and says, "It's been nearly 2 weeks since I made the post, and the short update is that we're getting divorced." I said in my last post I told her I wanted us to go back to couples counseling and sex therapy. She said no to both as we went before and she felt bullied. She said at sex therapy that unless she initiates touching, not just sex, any touching like hugs or hand holding, it will be against her will and be force/pity affection from her. The sex therapist said that's very unreasonable and that's why she felt bullied there. I tried to ask a few questions too. Are you a lesbian or at least bi? She said don't be stupid. Are you asexual? She said I'm not a teenager with a stupid label. What did he have I don't? She said nothing, I just wanted to do it. Why didn't you ever want to do that with me? She said I don't know. What can I do to make you want to do that with me? She said I don't know. Do you want me to take the initiative and try it on with you more? She said fuck no. I'll tell you when I want it. Don't guess. She refused the therapy and gave me no straight answers. She's also said I've gone back on my word about not letting the kiss split us up because now it is. I said it's not the kiss, it's your behavior since then that has caused me to want divorce. She said as it's my decision to divorce and it's all my fault, then I should be the one to tell our kids, and she will have no part of it. That was hard. As soon as they were told, my wife left for her sisters, and in 3 days since I haven't heard anything from her. I've tried speaking to her about the kids as they miss her, but she reads my messages and ignores me. A lot of people asked about the friend and why they still talk after she tried it on with me. How I understand it is, my wife tried to get the friend group to cut friend out, but they all pretty much refused, and so my wife just chose to ignore her in group settings. On the night in question, a friend approached my wife and told her if she didn't tell me, she would send me the video. Then my wife didn't tell me because she felt guilty, but because she was forced. I've also spoke to a couple of other friends in the group and asked what's been going on. I'm not privy to. Apparently my wife was sexting her friend's boyfriend a couple of years ago. My wife has also been boasting about how she has me under the thumb, and she gets away with giving me nothing and I'm too scared to ask. The friend apparently saw me out shopping one day and decided I was now more fuckable and thought she'd try and exact some revenge on my wife. So she didn't really want me. I was just a pawn in this weird friend group, one of many internal beefs with each other, which I found out about in the last few days. Basically, they all seem to hate each other and mess with each other's partners. I'll be honest now, and I feel incredibly guilty about it, but when she left, my body and soul seemed to take a massive sigh of relief. It was like a black cloud that was dripping eggshells on the floor for me to constantly avoid has gone. I feel terrible for feeling this way, but I feel like I'm my 6'2" height now, rather than a browbeaten 3 foot who is scared to even say anything for fear of being told I'm wrong or insulted or ridiculed. It's like the blinkers have been taken off. I spent today baking with my kids, eating Easter eggs and watching cartoons, and I haven't stopped smiling all day. I haven't winced or broke out in a sweat worrying I'm about to be told off for being too noisy or watching the wrong thing on TV, or there's a wrapper on the floor, etc. Thank you everyone for the support on my last post. I appreciate you all. Commodore says, you sound like a good person who just wanted to save your marriage. Glad you now realize no woman is worth being treated like you've been treated. It'll be a rough time for a while, but you're going to come out of this stronger. And never date or marry cold, basic women again. Opie says it is rough and I do feel like a failure for not being enough for her, but at the same time, I genuinely feel 2 foot taller and 100 pounds lighter since she left. It's a really weird feeling. I now know I'd rather live alone under a bridge than in a household like that again. Commodore says you didn't fail her. You failed yourself by believing all this toxic, abusive shit she was feeding you. And that's understandable. Abuse creeps up on you until it's under your skin. It sounds like she had you convinced you could do nothing right. Opie says that's exactly how it was. I was scared to even offer an opinion on something, and I still am now. My kids asked yesterday what film I wanted to watch, and I found myself scared to give an answer, thinking whatever I chose would be rejected and I'd be ridiculed. So it was around a week later after this, Opie updated again and said sorry for updating here. I'm only allowed to make one update on relationship advice. I also want to thank everyone again for their concern and kindness they've shown me on my 2 posts, and also thank you to everyone on Best of Redditor Updates who made some lovely comments after my post was shared on there. Unfortunately, the post was locked before I found out, so I couldn't say thank you all personally. After my last update, a lot of people commented and messaged me to say that am I sure that my kids are mine? This thought never entered my head until I read what people said. Last Thursday, I ordered a paternity test, sent it Friday, and awaiting the results. At this point, I don't really care. It won't change my love for them, but I'm terrified if they come back as not biologically mine, I'll lose them. I discussed this with my lawyer last week, who said if they aren't mine, it'll be much harder to get even any kind of custody. I told him if it comes to that, then I keep fighting until the end. Blood or not, they are my boys. Speaking of the boys, my soon-to-be ex has seen them a couple of times with her mum, who is genuinely a nice person, and the kids have been fine. I can't say the same about my baking equipment though. She came into the house on Friday last week when she knew I was out and took a lot of it and purposely broke some bits she knew had sentimental value to me that came from my grandma and my mum. I can't prove she did anything, and she brought the stuff back on Sunday and said she just borrowed the items, but I love baking and she is slowly ruining it for me. I'd already deleted my Instagram page because she was insecure about the women who followed me. And this time she must have remembered I was making a cake for my niece's birthday and tried to sabotage it. I've made notes and screenshots of everything. And a lot of you rightly predicted, she had also cheated on me a lot, although no evidence of it being physical yet from what I can tell. A friend who is also in this WhatsApp group, where women basically just post nudes and men comment. I still need to get the details of this group so I can finally get to see some boobs again. Sent me a lot more screenshots of photos she's taken. All around our house, blatantly her bedroom in some of them, and one even stood against my car. Also, a few of these friends are single, and when they hook up with someone, my wife will add the guy on Facebook and has basically been offering herself to them. One of the friends messaged one of the guys who still had the chats in his Facebook DMs and sent the friend a load of screenshots to send me. All in all, I must have over 100 screenshots of stuff she's been saying and sending to people, and all of that is within the last couple of years, so it probably goes on further. As for the divorce, still in the early stages. One day I want to fight, the next I want to give her everything, materially, not the kids, and walk away and start again, so I can get this finished and done. If you've got any questions, I'll try to answer. It's nearly midnight here, but I'll try to stay up. Opie comes in with a mini update and says, got the DNA results and my sons are mine. Thank you for your support everyone. Another mini update comes in and says it's 6 AM nearly here. My ex-wife has the kids last night and I'm drunk and lonely. First night I've had to myself in maybe 20 odd years and I didn't know what to do. I thought about getting someone round so I could finally have some physical interaction. Instead I just sat on my own and drank for the first time in years too. Sorry for the boring post. I'm just lonely and wanted some affection. Next day, OP adds, thank you, my kids came back at 6 last night and they were pretty much in bed and asleep by 7. Got a day planned at a fair today, and then an early night ready for school tomorrow. I just instantly feel better when they are back. Around 2 months later, OP adds, I moved back to my hometown and given my ex the house. I know people won't be happy with that, but I just wanted a clean break and no ties to her or that city. The kids are with me and see their mum at weekends, provided I make the 5-hour round trip to drop them off on a Saturday morning and then make the same trip Sunday afternoon to pick them up. Eye roll emoji. I know again people will say I'm doing what she wants, but if it makes my kids happy, it makes me happy. She seems okay with this arrangement, although she has flaked twice already. Once the kids say they no longer want to go, I won't take them. The divorce is going through but won't be done for a few more months yet, according to my lawyer. I'm baking a lot more now and loving it. Thank you everyone who has thought about me. You're all so great. And adds, I'm in therapy. It's been a great help in making me realize my worth. 1.5 months after that, OP says, the title of it was, my 41 male ex 41 female messaged me yesterday saying she no longer wants to see our kids and is happy to give them away in our divorce. How to navigate mixed emotions of this. I posted on here a few months ago if you want to look at my profile and read them about my wife kissing another man on a night out despite not having sex with me for years. I wasn't bothered and was willing to ignore it and carry on, but she kept making issues over it and eventually we split up. I moved back to my home city about 2 hours away and the kids came with me. My ex said it was too far for her to travel to have them at weekends, so every Saturday morning I've been driving them up to her and then picking them back up Sunday evening, so they got to see their mum. We'd make fun trips out of it and would take snacks, play audiobooks, have sing-alongs, etc. but I noticed they'd always seem happier to be picked up than taken there. I just always assumed it was because all their stuff in their main home was with me. My ex has started to cancel these weekends a bit recently. 3 of the last 5 she's cancelled. She started to say things like, "They don't like me anyway," and "You've poisoned them," which is not true. I've never said a bad word about their mum to them or in front of them, and never would. Plus, I make 2 4-hour round trips every weekend so she can see them and they can see her. I'll be honest, every Saturday after I drop them off, I cry all the way home. I miss them so much. They are my best little mates. Every night after dinner, we all do our chores and do a different activity. Sometimes it's a walk in the woods behind my house, or we bake, or we have movie nights, or read books together. I'm quite good with my hands and love making and fixing things, whether it's baking, cooking, DIY, or car repairs, and they have started to take an interest too. So we have a couple of projects on the go, like building a kind of Wendy house for them, but it will have games, consoles, a fridge for their drinks and snacks, etc. Plus, we're also building a couple of petrol go-karts from scratch for them to race at a nearby track when they are done, which they're designing themselves, and we are building together. Basically, my life is taken up with them in the week, and then at weekends I feel like a lost zombie until it's time to go get them. And yesterday, I received a short text from her saying she no longer wants to see them. All they do is ask for me anyway. They don't have fun there, and they basically get in the way. I was absolutely heartbroken for my boys, and I rang her straight away. I'll be honest, I started crying as I felt so bad for them, and she genuinely acted like I was annoying her for wanting to get to the bottom of it. She then said, "Sounds like you don't want them either and are just trying to palm them off on the weekends," and hung up on me. I don't even know how I'm going to tell them this. Do I just say she's cancelled for a few weeks and see how it goes? Do I tell them the truth? How do I say it in a way that the kids will understand and won't absolutely crush them? Then I've got the conflicted selfish emotion of pure joy that I have the whole weekends with them. It's so selfish of me, I know, as they're going to be sad while I'm happy. Has anyone been in a similar situation from my side or the kids' side? How do I handle this? Commodore says to OP, "Are the kids in therapy?" OP says, "I got them in therapy as soon as we split up because everyone in their life is attached to this one way or another, and they need an outside voice to help them understand it, and someone they can be truly honest with without fear of hurting feelings." Commodore says, "Have her give up her parental rights and talk to a lawyer?" OP says, "I spoke to a lawyer today and showed him everything, which was then emailed over to him, and he sent a letter to a divorce lawyer saying what I want, sole custody." Commodore says, "Don't forget child support. Hope you're receiving and get it adjusted based on new custody agreement." OP says, "I don't need her money. I make enough to look after us as is. If I ever was to receive anything, it would go into savings for them." To a longer comment, which was accusing of him making everything up, and says, "So men can't be abused and made to feel worthless and unloved. She can keep the house. It's worth about 140k, so 70k is a small price to pay to be rid of her. We don't have alimony here in the UK. Once you're divorced, you are done. We pay child support, but that goes to the main parent, which is me, and she can keep her £25 a week. I don't need it. I've got plenty of anger and resentment towards her, trust me, mate. If she was on fire, I wouldn't piss on her. But I'm not going to show that anger and resentment in front of the kids, am I? Because I'm not a fucking psycho." Someone says, "Why would you walk away from the 70k? OP says, "It's just going to drag on forever and frustrate the fuck out of me. I know it's not worth it. She's going to wreck the house to lower the value. She refused to let people view it. She'll miss all meetings. She refused to sign anything. She's going to make this unbearable, and I'll be driving 4-hour round trips hundreds of times for no reason. It genuinely isn't worth it. She will make my life a living hell and would rather walk away with nothing than me walk away with something." So OP came in with an update a month after that and says, "So as far as her giving up her rights as a parent, it's a lot harder than I thought. Both my lawyer and hers have told me that it's hard to do this in the UK, and neither of them have seen a judge allow it unless there is physical or sexual chance of harm to the children. However, they have both also said they've never presented a case like this to a judge where both parties agree to it fully. They've drafted an agreement where we both agree to my ex-wife no longer having responsibilities towards my children, including financially. Let's see what happens with that. Just waiting now to get a court date, but they said that can be months away." On to the hardest part, telling my kids. I'll be honest, I haven't. The first couple of weeks I just said mum had cancelled again when they asked, and the eldest in particular seemed pretty relieved at this both times, and last weekend they didn't even ask. It's been over a month now since they've seen her. The eldest has also told me that he doesn't like going there anyway, as all she does is sleep and shout. He also told me the other day he prefers his new house and he feels more relaxed. I feel terrible, as I was obviously missing signs before that he wasn't fully happy when we were together as a family. At least he's more comfortable now. I had a bit of a wobble last night with my youngest though. He was watching Land Before Time and then he started saying he misses his mum and then started crying. It was full-blown tears and breaking down, and it was awful to see. While I was holding him, I started crying, but I made sure he couldn't see. I didn't say anything bad about his mum or tell him she doesn't want to see him anymore. I just hugged him and stroked his hair and told him I'll always be here for him. He can always come to me if he's upset, happy, or just wants to be silly. I'll never push him away. Once they were in bed, I was in pieces, blaming myself for leaving their mum, questioning why I couldn't be stronger and live with it for a few more years until they were adults. It was me who left. It's me who made them drive up and down the country every weekend, unsettled them, uprooted their lives. At 2 a.m. this morning, I drafted a text to my wife asking her to get back together and to be a mum again. Luckily, I didn't send it. I had about 3 hours sleep, but feel better this morning. None of her family have been in touch either to try and maintain a relationship with the boys. It's horrible to be honest, but they're the ones missing out on these two amazing kids. One of her cousins messages me every so often, but she asks more about me than the kids, so that either feels like ulterior motives or a trap, which I'm not falling into. As for my divorce, my lawyer has said it should hopefully be finalized before Christmas. Not that it'll make much difference. I don't wear my ring and she has a new 20-year-old boyfriend, not the guy she cheated with. It would be nice though to finally be able to say ex-wife and it be official. On this one, someone asked OP, why not just say no to her being absolved of all responsibilities? Tell her it's fine, that they're not going to come visit anymore, but she needs to pay child support. Then put it in the bank for your children's future. OP says she barely works. I means tested it, and she'd pay around £20 a month. Rather go without. To another, OP says she works about 15 hours a week. When I did an online mean tester, it was about £20 a month. A small price to pay to be rid of her. To another, OP says, I have 5-figure savings account for both of them, plus my garage, which is a successful business, and I own the land it's built on. £20 a month is £240 a year. I can make that in a morning on a side job on a car. I'd rather do that once a year than have to ever have a reason to talk to her again. OP comes in with another update, 2.5 months after that last post and 7 months from the original post, and says, it's been just over 3 months since she said she doesn't want to see them. Within a month of her saying that, she changed her mind and did want to see them. I spoke to my lawyer, who heard from her lawyer, and my lawyer said, since there's nothing official about her giving up her rights, I shouldn't stop her as it will look bad on me. I agreed then, but said I'm no longer making 2 4-hour round trips every weekend to drop them off, and it's up to her to come pick them up. My kids are now both constantly crying, saying they don't want to go, and they're scared up there as she's always tired and angry. I'm having to console them constantly, and it's breaking my heart. First weekend, no show, no notice. Second weekend, she tells me she can't make it. Third weekend, some random woman appears at my door and said my ex-wife sent her to pick the kids up. I tell her to leave and never come back. Ex-wife rings the police and tells them I'm kidnapping my kids. Police being the anti-father institution, they turn up and start telling me to take the boys back to their mum. I inform them that they haven't seen their mum in months and I'm the primary parent. They didn't believe me but eventually do when I show them the kids' school uniform and that they are enrolled in our local school. A lawyer now says they want mediation. End up traveling 2 hours for mediation with my lawyer and it's absolute bollocks. The mediator is the most biased person to the point even my ex-wife's own lawyer said, this isn't right and you're being ridiculous. It looks like we've paid you off. After the mediator's idea of compromise was me taking the kids up there myself, staying in a hotel nearby, giving my ex money to entertain the kids, and then being on call to help out if my ex was struggling with them. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. We all walked away with no ideas set in place. I told my ex-wife and her lawyer outside. She or her parents can pick the kids up, and that's it. There's no other solutions to this. The following weekend, the parents are there to pick the kids up. My boys cried and fought and begged not to go, and I couldn't stay strong. I broke down and just hugged them on my driveway for as long as it took them to both calm down. and I apologized and said, "I don't want this. I want you to forever. I'll see you tomorrow." My ex-father-in-law gave a sorry nod as he led the kids away, and that was it. Later that night, I got a screenshot of a conversation my ex-wife had been having with someone, saying that she wants more custody so she can start to claim money off me. That night, the windows were put through on my house, and this was just the start of a campaign that is still going on now, which I assume is to make me react and look violent. I've had my car vandalized, windows replaced, and then smashed again. Online accusations made about me. My business hit with 1-star reviews. Constant takeaways and taxis ordered to my house. My parents' house and car has also been targeted. It always happens on the Saturday night my kids are up there. I ring the police every time and log it, and they never care. I got proof it's their cousins after one of them filmed himself on the street next to mine at 2 a.m. and put it on TikTok. Police don't care. This is my life now. The poor kids having to go up there every weekend against their will. Me being constantly threatened. I've had official paperwork from a lawyer saying she's going to be asking for more custody. Me having to bite my tongue and hold my temper while me and my family are attacked and harassed. Having to see hundreds of people attacking my character on Facebook and Twitter as my ex tells everyone that I've turned the kids against her. Getting random men ringing me saying they're going to come and stab me for abusing my ex. Having people say there's no smoke without fire and believe all women, etc. I hate the way that this situation is starting to make me become a more hateful person. I'm noting biases where I didn't before, and I'm also finding myself to become very untrusting of women, as 95% of the people calling me online are women. And it sounds terrible, but I was watching a show the other day where a woman was talking about her abuse situation, and my first thought was, she's lying to get him in trouble. And then I had to scold myself for victim blaming. This is really messing me up. You try and do everything right and nothing works. All I want is a quiet, safe life for my kids. OP responds to a bunch of people who's saying OP isn't doing enough and he needs to go scorched earth, and just general clarifications. OP adds, "As soon as she sent the messages, I spoke straight away to my lawyer. But here in the UK, you can't just sign away your parental rights overnight. It has to go through the courts, which takes months, and even the judge or a committee has to decide if you can just stop being a parent. And my lawyer and others I spoke to said it'd be very rare it would be granted that you can just legally stop being a parent. I've spent over 15k in lawyers' fees already. Do you think I'm just sitting here waiting for it to happen magically? I've applied for an immediate non-visitation order or whatever the fuck it's called on the grounds of abuse and neglect, but it was rejected as there's no signs of emotional or physical abuse. I can't legally stop her seeing the kids. I'll be arrested for keeping a mother away from her children, and they don't look at text messages. That she said they'll look at the facts, that she is legally their mum, and there's fuck all I can do about that. My hands are fucking tied. I spoke to all sorts of family solicitors, and they all say the same thing. I can't legally stop her seeing them. I can stop being so accommodating by driving them there myself, which I have done, but outside of that, I can't stop her. If I got arrested for not letting her see the kids, then I play right into her fucking hands, which is what she wants. The kids are the real victims, as they're the pawns in all this bullshit legal system that she's playing, and fucking Stevie Wonder can see that they are better off without me. Someone says go to the police. Opie says, I've been to the police numerous times. I have over 100 screenshots printed off. I have video evidence of the vandalism at my house. I have recordings of people saying that they're going to stab me. They won't do anything. I can't physically do anything that gives my ex-wife an inch, as like my lawyer says, the courts will already be on her side because she's the mum, so I have to be squeaky clean. You don't think I want to batter the out of every one of these see you next Tuesdays? I could smash the little crackhead's cousin's face in one hand while drinking tea with the other, no problem. But that doesn't get me anywhere. If I go back at them on social media, it makes me look bad in the eyes of the law. I've had 3 lawyers tell me to never respond to anyone but my ex-wife, and even then only respond if it's a direct question or a request about my kids. Anything else, ignore, screenshot, and save. And then a month after this one, OP added a new post that was titled, "My ex-wife has signed all the divorce papers out of nowhere, and it's all in motion, all signed and sent off." I made an update about 4 weeks ago of all the shit my ex and her family have been doing. The day after the post, I'd had enough. I left my boys with my parents and went to see her parents. When I got there, they invited me in, and over a cup of tea, I showed them every piece of evidence I have. Screenshots, screen records, CCTV, and then the worst screenshots of messages between my ex and the 3 of her friends who all betrayed her and sent me screenshots of messages she had sent them with plans to make me lose the kids, burn down my business, even get me killed. Then the worst one was a video from her friend's Reolink camera saying she had told the police I'm a child abuser in all the worst ways possible. I said the police aren't interested, but if I ever hear from any of her family ever again, I'll be posting every single bit on social media. Every single bit. I told them that she can keep the house and that's it. They rang me that night and apologized and said nothing will happen again, and that my ex agrees to the divorce, but can she see the kids one weekend a month? I agreed. The next day, I rang my solicitor. Between him and hers, they agreed all the funeral details, and this morning, I got it all back from her signed. Be a few more months until it's official, but it feels like a weight has been lifted from my shoulders. Someone says to OP, this sounds like really good news. So, has she stopped harassing you, and is she actually seeing the kids now? Do they know their mom was behind all of the harassment? I just feel for your kids. I can't imagine growing up knowing my mum would do that to my dad. OP says yeah, she's left me alone now, but has only seen the boys twice since she said she wants to see them every weekend. And a month after that post, OP said, it's official, I'm divorced. Got a letter from the courts yesterday. It's actually a lot quicker than expected. They said January/February time, but it all became official yesterday. I celebrated by having a McDonald's and watching Christmas movies with my boys. Lol. I'm not sure if OP purposely did that typo at the end there where he said, agreed all the funeral details. I'm sure it was meant to say final details or something like that. Or maybe it was meant to say funeral, like the death of a marriage kind of thing. But boy, oh boy, that really escalated, didn't it? But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.